Hi everyone. I'm Ruth Essex. I work freelance as a sort of creative engagement person, placement in the world of placemaking. And just putting this together made me think about why I was in placemaking. Um, I kind of came to it as someone who was trying to make things happen on the ground. I was working in the arts and trying to develop art spaces in the UK, and realised everything was really difficult. It's very hard to get traction or influence the way a place was, and I I saw a lot of waste of potential in places. People who had ideas weren't really um, making things happen, and so I went and studied town planning. Um, then I realised I didn't want to be a town planner really. And then I realised I was a placemaker maybe. And now I've realised I'm a more of a tactical urbanist. So yeah, I just wanted to talk through some of the things that motivate me in this sort of work, and then a few examples of what I've been doing recently. So the first thing that I've often don't have a lot of money and resources to do projects, which is the case in most places. But I thought, it's really important that that doesn't stop us doing things. So um, I I basically always fall back on the principles of asset-based community development. So which I'm sure some of you have worked in. I think community development workers sort of sussed out some of the rules of placemaking a long time ago in the 90s. So I thought I'd look at a few of those things again. The basic principles really of how we work. Everyone has gifts. Building relationships. The thing I always fall back on is institutions as servants, and institutions being not just the authorities, but also the consultants and the people who are lucky enough to be paid to do this sort of work. So when I start a project, I do a lot of asset asset mapping. So I suppose looking for assets of a place, it depends on us being open-minded, um, and sort of flexible and responsive to people. And not everyone's, so this is a sort of asset mapping project I did when I first started working in Bristol, trying to understand spaces with potential, and then sort of mapping them out and sharing them with people. And I think sometimes some people are better than others at searching out assets, and so I've always found that artists are good collaborators and that sort of thing. So I've done a lot of work trying to find assets that maybe are hidden to local authorities or regeneration initiatives. Um, and that also involves searching out people with ideas and initiative, who are often frustrated people who have maybe come into contact with big sort of regeneration or placemaking initiatives, or have come into contact with local authorities and feel like they can't do anything, or have just got frustrated with the process. So I suppose what I try to do is bridge that gap between um, the larger institutions and then people who are very much on the ground with really good ideas, who just want to get on with things. Um, so I just wanted to say a bit more about collaboration engagement. So yeah, this is a project. So I suppose I try to go a bit deeper and broader as possible when I'm working. Um, So alongside the kind of more formal master planning or surveying, data gathering, I try and create softer forms of engagement that are maybe more fun, have a performative side. This is project I did recently to try and look at Haverfordwest Square, Town Square, and engage people in thinking about sort of new designs for the square. So the first thing we did was invite people along to come and clean the square and the sort of entrance ways to it. And as much as possible, collaborate, and on every single level, every single opportunity was about collaboration. So collaboration over and above engagement. We invited buskers down to the square. We basically did a 1-week residency in the square where we not only we didn't just focus on asking people what they wanted to see, but we tried to be some change within the place. So we installed a mobile garden that we could move around the space, and people could come along and move it as they felt worked best. Worked with students at the local college to design the planters and kind of paint them. And then that garden was then donated to a local venue in town. So we kind of used the opportunity of the project to leave resources within the town. We invited buskers down to the square. We created music sessions, basically changed the look and feel of the square at the same time as trying to understand what it was people wanted to do. So it was sort of doing rather than just listening. This was a really successful event, actually, where I worked with the local youth centre to, rather than have their usual night inside the centre, they brought all their stuff down to the square, and we kind of turned it into an outdoor youth centre, and which was a win-win, because they said that people in the town rarely saw what they got up to, and for us and for the town, the square was really animated and kind of completely changed in the way people used it. So one of the things that I often feel frustrated by is that we're not doing enough doing. So I often employ the principles of tactical urbanism, where you kind of you build the momentum for long-term change and do that visioning and planning, but alongside that you do temporary, short-term, low-cost projects, so that involve people in that change and almost also demonstrate what's possible. So this is some pictures of some projects that I've been doing in Maindy in Newport, South Wales, more recently, which is really involve people in doing the change in a quite a low cost but very effective way. So I use a process of rapid prototyping. So use the projects really to do the research. So test things out. This shows the broad process of that. So co-developing projects with people, doing a project, and then observing and collecting data and learning from that project, and then going again. So this whole process is part of the research towards the master planning, or the bigger vision for the area. So these are some of the techniques we've been employing in Maindy. For the last few years, I've been working with a local charity called Maindy Unlimited. And more, well, in the last 2 years, I've worked with urban designers Roberts Limbrick as well, who've done some visioning and master planning for the district centre, and they've done data gathering and surveying to inform that plan. But alongside that, I try to bring more people into the process and do some sort of other projects which fed ideas and tested ideas alongside the master planning. So we one of the most successful things we did actually was do a people's assembly at the local library, um, and it was very much like the event that Claire described up in Bangor, really, where we did do a lot of post-its and stuff like that. But what we did employ was techniques of citizens' assemblies. So we paid people who needed to be paid through tokens, and we almost selected people to create a really representative demographic. Um, and I was really surprised at how paying people can really help. Well, not surprised, I knew it would help, but it kind of equalized things actually. And we had a really mixed demographic. We supported young people to give presentations and talk about things, and yeah, it was a good way to inform the wider planning process. Um, Then another project that I developed was a pop-up garden to start testing ideas of using up bits of space that really were underused around the district centre, and doing it quite quickly. So this was a little garden that was created using one parking space in the car park, um, and it's still there. So I did that initially as a 28-day temporary project, and it's been there for about a year and a half now, and no one seems to have be that bothered that it's there, and it's been quite well used. We've done a lot of stuff with people, helping people sort of take over spaces. Weirdly, I think sort of that sort of transgression or changing the way space is used, going into streets, using them for football or badminton or whatever else, um, letting people paint things and decorate things and go a bit wild. That seems to get people quite excited and motivated about getting involved in their place again. Maybe something like feeling like they're breaking the rules a bit, or being allowed to play or do things. It can really motivate people. Yeah, there's some more pictures of what we've been doing in Maindy. Again, play streets, letting people go wild on hoardings if there's hoardings there, um, planting up gardens, letting people take plants home as well. So sort of giving people stuff as well as inviting them in. This was a project that I did in the school where I created a after school club for young placemakers who then did a lot of design work for the car park. Actually, that's what they focused on, and then I've managed to make some of their ideas come to fruition. Where a lot of them wanted to paint designs on quite a boring ball courts that's been neglected for years, and this year, as part of a project called Full Colour Maindy, we made that happen, and with the assistance of local people to paint it. So this was a lovely project where people could. It's a very simple way of people being able to do the change. And these just few more shots of Full Colour Maindy Festival, where again we invited creative people in Newport to sort of take the lead on sort of making some quick changes to the district centre, and it's had a pretty huge impact on the area. I don't know if anyone's seen some of the footage, but I thought I'd leave you with these pictures. There seems to be a lot of tigers and mainly now. It's become a bit of a theme, but yeah, that's me. Oh, and that was the film. But I think I've run out of time to play the film. So.